and then we'll move on to our next presentation, which is on teaching the foundations of machine learning with Candy by Daniela Huppenkothen and Gwendolyn Edie, I guess. So Daniela, you're going to be presenting, right? And the floor is yours.
Awesome, thank you. Let me share this. I hope this is gonna work. Do you see this?
Looking good.
Yep.
Okay. Hi, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about three of my favorite things, machine learning, teaching, and chocolate. I'm currently at the University of Washington in Seattle in the astronomy department and the eScience Institute. Gwen was my former office mate. She's now at the University of Toronto, and we spent a lot of time thinking about statistics and machine learning with Candy. And so both of us have kind of the same motivation for this. I personally teach machine learning often to domain scientists, to astronomers in particular, but also physicists, biologists, sort of the typical carpentries audience almost. And, you know, some of them undergraduate and graduate students, but many of them are also postdocs and faculty who want to get up to speed with those new methods. I'm also thinking about sort of, I've had my eye on like teaching this to high school students and figuring out how to do that. I've not had the chance yet. My chance got, you know, canceled this year, so hopefully that will happen in the future. What all of these groups kind of have in common in my head is that often you work with an audience that has a limited or very mixed mathematics background. So you can't assume that they have all of this mathematical understanding. And often in this case, machine learning is not a full class, but it's sort of taught as a larger data analysis unit, as we've heard from Javier earlier. And what I found that there's really a need for a conceptual understanding over the many of the mathematical details. And in many ways, what I try to do is demystify the black box that you often hear about. If you hear about machine learning in the media, it's almost talked about like a sentient thing. And so that is sort of heavily invested in that. And then also because I teach a lot of astronomers who never like work on any data that has anything to do with real life, I try to at least give them a view. Many of these students go out into the wider world and work on problems where their algorithms do affect human lives. And so I try to keep an eye on that when I'm teaching as well. And that's where a lot of the ethics angle comes from. And so when I looked out on how to teach that, what I really found is that the big different approaches that I could find were at one end focused towards computer science and statistics students, which are very in-depth mathematically, they're rigorous and they're dedicated machine learning classes. And then I found a lot of online material that's sort of very practically coding oriented, kind of light on the foundational concepts and really designed to get you up and running quickly. And so what I really wanted was a sort of thing that kind of sits in between and really teaches some of the concepts behind how you do feature engineering, how you do draw decision boundaries, and kind of is a bit adaptable in terms of mathematical rigor. I also wanted it to be fun. And so we ended up with a lesson to try and teach machine learning with Candy, where we give students, actual Candy and have them look at it and have to think about how they would classify it, where they take a problem that your brain can solve very naturally and very quickly and go through the laborious process of replicating this in a computer. And so basically the basic setup is something that I think anyone can kind of understand from high school to adult level. Is you have a party, you've mixed together your different types of candies, but your roommate tells you that some of your guests have a peanut allergy. What do you do now? You have a lot of candy, so you don't want to do it by hand. And the peanut allergy honestly sets up a really good segue into the ethics part, because I think all machine learning should be taught starting and finishing with ethics. And so that's what we start. We talk about the consequences. We talk about sort of the ways these things can be misused. And then we go through things like feature engineering, decision boundaries. And you can see on the right where I drew an example of that. I picked K-nearest neighbor because it's nice to draw and easy to understand on a conceptual level. We talk about model evaluation sort of with a slightly more audiences, I would also do logistic regression, also depending on time, and then cross-validation. And in the end, you go back to ethics and like, given that we've now gone through all of that, should we have done this in the first place? Or should we have just bought a, guaranteed peanut-free bag of candies and given that to our guests? And so that is sort of the whole overview. I will confess I have not taught this lesson in its entirety. I've sort of taught parts of it, but all of the chances to teach this again got kind of canceled this year. But the feedback that I've had on like the parts that I've taught is, one thing that I've learned is actually, especially if it's part of a larger summer school, like a week or 2 weeks, teaching with candy can provide a sort of much needed dash of whimsy and creativity that you otherwise don't have. And so that's always super fun. I've never had a group of people who are like, oh, candy, really? Like that's so far not happened. I also have a lot of audience that are really scared of these topics because they're presented as these very mathematical and difficult subjects where you need to be these really like top intelligent, mathematically inclined people who really understand that. And so this kind of simple real world example can take away some of that fear, and sort of working with your hands on candy can also help with that. The students really appreciate the focus on ethics. Many of them have gone to me as like, oh, I've never really thought about this, which might have changed now that it's also a bit more in the public eye. And then what we've also learned, aligning with the carpentries, is that the interactive aspect is really important. And I'm going to stop there and open it for questions. Thank you. I think everyone is staring at me.
It looks like Heidi is gone. No, now she's back.
Sorry, I'm back. Somehow we have internet connections today at the Helmholtz Center in Munich. Sorry about that. Yeah, thanks Daniela for the talk. I guess you're done. I didn't hear the ending, unfortunately. Are there any questions from the audience? Please feel free to unmute. I'm already seeing comments in the Etherpad saying, I love the idea. One other person writing, brilliant. Do you use additional apps, but like the hand drawing?
Yeah, so I try to make people draw on paper. I also use some of these poll taking apps like Mentimeter to get sort of a gauge, to give people questions. And otherwise I really have them more work together to like think about the problem, talk with their neighbors. Sometimes I have them like vote and then talk with their neighbors and try to convince each other of what their answer to a particular question was. So, but as much as possible, I do have for the students who have a little bit more computational background, there is, I'm not sure whether I put it on the GitHub, but there is a Jupyter notebook in Python that, they can go in and like play with this. And I've pre-recorded data with the help of many happy people at my institute, where they can play around with some pre-recorded data on different types of candies.
I also actually have a question. So you mentioned, or it's more like, I guess, a comment. So you mentioned the ethics aspect, and yeah. I'm going to be honest, we don't really focus on ethics much in our introductory machine learning class. But I do agree with you that it's actually very, very important. So thanks for that. And I guess we might reconsider actually if we need that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to add real quick. I have also a question related to this. So what is the conclusion of this ethics discussion at the end? So.
Well, so that kind of depends. I mean, I don't think, so I was really scared of incorporating ethics because I'm not a philosopher. I'm not a sort of, expert in this. And so, but I went to a session last year at an American Statistical Association conference where someone said, our job is not to teach practical philosophy, it is to make our students ask good questions. And so there is no prescriptive answer to what the answer should be. I make the students discuss it, and I think to some extent, some of these don't have a fully formed answer. And so a lot of them, I try to get them to consider how machine learning affects their own lives, where machine learning affects them, where it's been used either to their advantage or detriment, and then try to like start asking these questions around machine learning in the hope that when they use machine learning in their own work, they will go back and will like, wait, we should at least think about whether that's something we should do. So I don't really give them the answers, and I'm honest about that, you know, there's an ongoing conversation that they need to ask and revisit and ask again throughout the process.
Thank you so much, Daniela, for
Sure,
this
thank
interesting
you.
talk.